think the older I get, the more I feel like myself. And by that I mean, in a lot of ways, I feel a lot more like I did when I was a kid. You know, growing up, there's a lot less influences as far as just feeling like you have to be a certain way or behave a certain way, or these things are okay to do, these things aren't, you should be doing whatever. There's always a should involved, I think, especially as we get older. I felt like that a lot, just really probably in starting in middle school, especially getting into high school. There was a whole lot of shoulds. Like I should be focusing more on schoolwork, which, you know, that is true to a degree, but I definitely focused too much on that and let a lot of things I was interested in just go by. Or, you know, I'm aiming to go to college for this thing, which, you know, for me was for a music degree, so I need to really be focusing on this. And so, you know, I just spent a lot of time doing this, which I was interested in, but you know, then I would, even when I wasn't feeling it, I wasn't interested in it, I would kind of force myself to get into that stuff in an unhealthy way, and just ignore a lot of other interests, like you know, stuff that I thought was too childish or whatever. Just, you know, things I was interested in as a kid, like art, video games, just kind of even reading, like reading for fun. I spent so much time just reading in school that I never, for a long time, I just never really read for fun anymore, which I used to a lot as a kid. Just kind of exploring fantasy worlds and just kind of getting into the lore of something, be that a book or a game or something like that. So I really feel like there was just this kind of black hole from age like 15 until 25 or so. So just kind of getting into high school, through college. That was about a year after I graduated college. I was 25, so, you know, had been an adult technically for a couple years at that point, but it was the first time I really felt like an adult. And I just had a lot of kind of notions that I had lived by for a long time, and just kind of stopped myself from getting into stuff that I used to like, because I always just had some reason about it. So, you know, I didn't have a lot of free time to get into, maybe there was like there was, I had a lot of like games and things like that I was really into as a kid. And I was interested in getting back into that and just kind of looking back at an old game or getting into something new. And I always just stopped myself and said, well, this is going to be really time consuming, so I don't want to get back into this. And I wouldn't even let myself start something, because I just thought, like, there's no point in starting this because I'm not going to have enough time to really get into it. And what's the point in starting it and spending a little bit of time when I can't really pursue it after that, which wasn't really true. And I spent, just because in my head I thought, well, if I'm spending time doing anything, it should be something productive, like, you know, just kind of furthering what I'm working on in my degree, or trying to figure out life plans after that, none of which I really did. Didn't really figure shit out at all. I was very scared of graduating and like trying to figure out how to be a functioning person outside of school. So it's not like I I put away all this stuff that I liked as a child, and then I got something else out of it because I was working on something, you know, in my mind that was more real. No, I actually just spent quite a bit of time just feeling depressed and not really knowing what to do, and just kind of being in a funk, not doing anything at all. So none of that time was spent on something I'm interested in. I just kind of repressed all that stuff, and that time wasn't really spent on working towards anything either, which is what I was telling myself that I was doing, or that I should be doing. And around age 25, so that was 7 years ago, I graduated from college. I had moved out of my college town to another place, and I had this was a kind of a New Year's resolution, which I had some more kind of like functional or, you know, general get on the right track of life type stuff for a couple years. And that one New Year's, I think it was like the first or second year I had lived, you know, the first place I lived in as a, you know, adult out of school. And I said, I really want to just like start getting into some stuff that I liked as a kid. So I had a couple books in mind I'd like to reread. I just found, you know, just some used copies online on thrift books, and got some books. There were some old games I liked that I wanted to get back into. One of them was MapleStory, which is I think it's still pretty popular, but it was kind of new in the mid 2000s when I was playing it as a kid. You know, there was kind of a boom of massive multiplayer online games, so I was really into that. I was really into RuneScape as well, which both started, you know, around then, just kind of in the mid 2000s. I was playing it a lot. I really liked those. I really liked just getting into the world of it, and you know, for a couple years before that, every now and then I would just think, oh man, I really liked these games. I kind of have like vague memories of the world and the lore, and I would like just go online on like a wiki or something, or just kind of look up pictures. You know, I would like pull up the world map of one of these games and just kind of like scroll through it and, you know, remember what was going on in the game in these different parts, and just kind of looking back at, you know, somewhat vague childhood memories. And I always stopped myself at that point. It was just kind of, all right, I can look at this for a little bit, but I don't have time to actually get into the game, which was not true at all. So I really wanted to, you know, just kind of stop limiting myself from getting back into what I liked. And that was a New Year's resolution. And then I started that. You know, I got some books that I reread. I started getting back into MapleStory a little bit, and you know, it wasn't like I thought it was going to be, where I would start it and then just be addicted to it or something, and just like play it too much and neglect other aspects of life. No, I just didn't have any trouble just getting into it in a healthy way. You know, just played it a little bit, and in some downtime I would get into it for a while, and then, you know, stop playing for a while, do some other stuff. And it was really fun, and despite years of thinking something bad would happen if I started getting back into my childhood interests, of course that was a stupid thing to think, and nothing happened. Except for I just felt a little bit more like myself. I stopped limiting something that I was interested in, started getting back into things that I had always liked, and just stopped myself from doing. And from that point on, that just kind of kept going. I guess I just had some momentum or whatever about it, and I just kept getting more and more into things I used to be interested in. Those kind of spurred me towards new interests. I started just getting more into just some other kind of like media or whatever that I used to be interested in. I started like reading manga more, which I used to really like as a kid. Started just watching some more anime, and this was some old stuff I used to like, and would get into some newer stuff. And I started getting more into recording game music, that was the first music I was really interested in as a kid. And I would always watch people make covers of songs, or I would just watch, this is all a lot more mainstream now, but at the time, I could, even back then, you could still find just some orchestras around the world. They would just play through arrangements of game soundtracks and stuff like that. So yeah, I just started getting into that myself. I recorded a decent amount of stuff that was kind of crap. I didn't really do a great job of it, and I wasn't really happy with it, but I was still trying and getting into it, and I've gotten better since then, been a lot happier with my recordings. And anyway, just, this is a couple years of doing this now, and I feel like rather what my fear was that, some of these specific not useful interests would just take up all my time. And what really happened is I just ended up with more time, because I didn't spend all that time just like feeling bad and not knowing what to do, and thinking I should be doing something but not doing it, and wanting to do something else but thinking I shouldn't, and just having all that kind of clash inside me all the time. And instead, just a lot more time was spent actually doing stuff. So I ended up having more time for the more productive type stuff, just like job stuff, life stuff, creative stuff, like creative output. I had more time for that. I had more time for interests, and my life was just a lot fuller. And over the years of doing that, I just started feeling a lot more like myself. And I feel like this black hole between age 15 and 25, which I can barely remember 10 whole years of my life, just because I felt like I was just repressing all of these parts of myself that I thought weren't important. It's just been kind of an upward trajectory since then. Every day as I get one day older, I just feel more and more like myself. I don't have so much conflict in me like I used to. I feel a lot more connected with my childhood self when I was just kind of, exploring the world and finding things I liked, and just basically having a lot more freedom in how I thought. I was just exploring things in a pure way of interest, I guess. If there was something I was into, I would just get into that, and I wouldn't overthink it and stop myself before I got started. And I've definitely, not that I never did this again, after age 25, I've still done plenty of that, and I still do, but compared to just those black hole years where I just like repressed everything like that, it's been much less. I'm allowing myself a lot more just to get into the stuff I like. And think part of that with getting older is, aside from just not stopping myself from doing stuff, is just feeling more comfortable with myself. You know, this all just kind of goes together, and more, I guess, less embarrassed of what people might think or what I thought people might think. Just kind of less embarrassed of my interests, and I would find, you know, plenty of other people with the same interests, and I thought, oh, that's cool. They like the same stuff as me. It's not embarrassing for them to like something. Like, why would I think it's embarrassing for this person to like it? So of course, you know, why would they think it's embarrassing for me to like it? And, you know, just a lot of kind of like social, I don't know if conventions is the word, but you know, just a lot of just untrue ideas of what was okay to do, what was embarrassing to do, what should I like hide from people and stuff like that. So I feel like my world just really started expanding a lot more, or rather it kind of maybe got back to the size it was when I was younger and I didn't have so many thoughts on what was okay to do or not. You know, from early childhood on, I feel like your world is just expanding, and ideally it will keep doing that for your whole life. But if you're anything like me, you know, you get up to age 15 or so, and then it starts shrinking because you just limit yourself in all of these ways. And then, you know, 10 years go by, world is tiny, just full of conflict and anxiety, and then it starts expanding again. And I would say it's much more the size for me now as it was when I was younger, and I was a lot happier then too, compared to those middle years. And I don't think I'm at the point now where I felt that sense of freedom and happiness as I did at that age, but I'm a lot closer now than I have been for many years. And I think if I just kind of keep going in this path and just stop limiting myself from things that I like, that I'm interested in, and pursuing that type of stuff, then you know, I think I'll be a lot more on track to just kind of keep that world expansion going. And that's really important to me. My life's improved a whole lot since I've kind of gone into that mindset. So anyway, just some thoughts of past years.